Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing absolutely well. So guys, in today's video we are going to see real exam questions. So we are continuing the series of GCP A real exam questions, and this is part 3 of that video. If you have not checked the previous 2 videos, make sure to do so, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel as I regularly upload these kinds of helpful videos for all of you. Let's start with our first question for today. So the first question is, you are running an application on multiple virtual machines within a managed instance group and have auto scaling enabled. The auto scaling policy is configured so that the additional instances are added to the group. If the CPU utilization of instances goes above 80%, VMs are added until the instance group reaches its maximum limit of 5 VMs, or CPU utilization of instance lowers to 80%, the initial delay of HTTP health checks against the instances is set to 30 seconds. The virtual machine instance take around 3 minutes to overcome the 3 minutes to become available for users. You observe that when the instance group auto scales, it adds more instances than necessary to support the levels of end user traffic. You want to properly maintain instance group sizes when auto scaling. What should you do? So basically what you want to do is you want to properly maintain the instance group sizes when the auto scaling is happening. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is option D. That is, what you can do is increase the initial delay of the HTTP health check to 200 seconds. Let's move on to the next question. You need to select and configure compute resources for a set of batch processing jobs. These jobs takes around 2 hours to complete and are run nightly. You want to minimize service cost. What should you do? So the jobs are running nightly and it takes 2 hours to complete. What you want to do is you want to minimize the service cost. The answer for this will be select compute engine. Use preemptible virtual machines instances of the appropriate standard machine time. That is option C. Since the machines are running nightly, therefore we are using preemptible virtual machines, which what preemptible machines will do is they will save your cost. Okay, so moving on to the next question. You recently deployed a new version of an application to App Engine and then discovered a bug in the release. You need to immediately revert to the prior version of the application. What should you do? So we have different options. The correct answer for this is option number B. That is, on the App Engine page of the GCP console, select the application that needs to be reverted and click revert. So they have clearly mentioned that you need to revert the prior versions, so we will make use of revert option here. That is, in the second option you have to click revert. Moving on to the next question. You deployed an App Engine application using gcloud app deploy, but it did not deploy to the intended project. You want to find out why this happened and where the application deployed. What should you do? So we have different options for this. So the correct answer is, what you need to do is option D. That is, you have to go to shell and run this command, that is gcloud config list, to review the Google Cloud configuration used for the deployment. This will give you the list of it. So moving on to the next question. You want to configure 10 compute engine instances for availability when maintenance occurs. Your requirements state that these instances should attempt to automatically restart if they crash. Also, the instances should be highly available, including during a system maintenance. What should you do? So we have different options for this. So the main question that is asked in here is, you have to take care of it that the system is available during maintenance. Okay, so the correct answer for this is option A. That what you can do is create an instance template for the instance, set the automatic restart to on, set the on host maintenance to migrate VM instances, add the instance template to the instance group. So basically the main catch over here is you have to set the automatic restart to on. So whenever the maintenance is going on, it will not shut down. Moving on to the next question. You host a static website on cloud storage. Recently you began to include links to PDF files on this site. Currently, when the users click on the links to these PDF files, their browser prompts them to save a file onto their local system. Instead, you want to click the PDF files to be displayed within the browser window directly without prompting the user to save the file locally. What you can do in this case? So the correct answer for this will be option C. You can set the content type metadata to application or PDF on the PDF file objects. Okay, so you have to change the content type value. Next is, you have a virtual machine that is currently configured with 2 vCPUs and 4 GB of memory. It is running out of memory. You want to upgrade to virtual machines to have 8 GB of memory. What should you do? So what you have to do is you have to upgrade it to have 8 GB of memory. The answer for this will be option D. You have to stop the VM and increase the memory to 8 GB, and then you have to restart or start the VM again. Next question is, you have production and test workloads that you want to deploy on compute engine. Production VMs need to be in a different subnet than the test VM. All the VMs must be able to reach each other over the internal IP without creating additional routes. You need to set up VPC and 2 subnets. Which configuration meets this requirement? The correct answer for this is option A. Create a single custom VPC with 2 subnets. Create each subnet in a different region and with different CIDR range. Make sure that you select option A in this case, because in option 2 it is given that you will select it in the same range, same region, but you have to select it in different region with different CIDR range. So the correct option is option A. Moving on to the next question, you need to create an auto-scaling managed instance group for HTTPS web application. You want to make sure that unhealthy VMs are recreated. What would you do in that case? So the correct answer for this question is option A. Create a health check on port 443 and use that when creating the managed instance group. So you have to create a health check on port 443. Let's move on to the next question now. Your company has a Google Cloud Platform project that uses BigQuery for data warehousing. Your data science teams changes frequently and has few members. You need to allow members of this team to perform queries. You want to follow Google's recommended practices. What should you do? The correct answer for this is option number C. That is, first of all, you will create a dedicated Google group in Cloud Identity. Then you will add each data scientist users in that group, and then after that you will assign BigQuery job user role to every group. Okay. Moving on to the next question, you are giving a project with a single virtual private cloud and a single subnetwork in the US Central 1 region. This is compute engine instance hosting an application in the subnetwork. You need to deploy a new instance in the same project in the Europe West 1 region. The new instance needs access to the application. You want to follow Google's recommended practices. What should you do? So the correct answer for this question is option A. That is, first of all, you will create a subnet in the same VPC in Europe West 1, create the new instance in the new subnetwork and use the first instance private address as the endpoint. Moving on to the next question. Your projects incurred more cost than you expected last month. Your research reveals that the development GKE container emitted a huge number of logs, which results in the higher cost. You want to disable the logs quickly using the minimum number of steps. What should you do? Correct answer in this case is option A. That is, you will go to the logs ingestion window in Stackdriver logging and disable the log source from the GKE container source. Let's move ahead to the next question now. You have a website hosted on App Engine standard environment. You want 1% of your users to see a new test version of your website. You want to minimize the complexity. What should you do? Okay. So the correct answer is option B. That is, you will deploy the new version in the same application and use splits option. So splits option is very important here. You have to remember this. You have to use splits option to give a weight of 99 to the current version and weight of 1 to the new version, because they have tell that you want 1% of your users to see the new test version. So remember that splits is the option that you have to select. Next question is, you have a web application deployed as a managed instance group. You have a new version of the application to gradually deploy. You want your web application is currently receiving live web traffic. You want to ensure that the available capacity does not increase during the deployment. What should you do? The correct answer in this case is option B. That is, you will perform a rolling action start update with max search set to 1 and max unavailable set to 0. So at any time your max unavailable value should be set to 0 and max search should be 1. Moving on to the next question, you are building an application that stores relational data from users. Users across the globe will use the application. Your CTO is concerned about scaling requirements because the size of the base is unknown. You need to implement a database solution that can scale with your user growth with minimum configuration changes. Which storage solution would you use? So it is a very easy question. In this case, you will use Cloud Spanner. Let's move on to the next question now. You are the organization and billing administration for your company. The engineering team has the project creator role of the organization. You do not want the engineering team to be able to link project to the billing account. Only the finance team should be able to link project to the billing account, but they should not be able to make any other change to the project. What should you do? So basically what you have to do is you want that the finance team should be able to link the project to the billing account and nothing else. So the correct answer for this is option A. That is, you will assign the finance team only the billing account user role on the billing account. Okay. So moving on to the next question, your organization is a financial company that needs to store audit log files for 3 years. Your organization has hundreds of Google Cloud projects. You need to implement a cost-effective approach for the log file retention. What should you do? The correct answer for this is option number B. That is, create an export to the sink that saves logs from the cloud audit to a code line storage bucket. Next question is, you want to run a single caching HTTP reverse proxy on GCP for latency sensitive website. This specific reverse proxy consumes almost no CPU. You want to have a 30 GB in memory cache and need an additional 2 GB of memory and the rest of the process. You want to minimize the cost. How should you run this reverse proxy? Correct answer is option A, that is create a cloud memory store for Redis instance with 32 GB of capacity. Next question is, you need to deploy an application which is packaged in a container image in a new project. The application exposes an HTTP endpoint and receives very few requests per day. You want to minimize the cost. What should you do? The correct answer in this case is option number A, that is deploy the container on cloud. Moving on to the next question, your company has an existing GCP organization with hundreds of projects and a billing account. Your company recently acquired another company that has hundreds of projects and its own billing account. You want to you would like to consolidate all the GCP cost of both GCP organizations onto a single invoice. You would like to consolidate all the costs as of tomorrow. What should you do? Correct answer is link the acquired company's project to your company's billing account. Since your request is to link both the accounts. So with this, we have come to an end of this video. To see more such questions, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and check this playlist of GCP Associate Cloud Engineer Certification exam questions in the playlist section. Thanks for watching the video.